Constitution Amendment Tobago Self-Government Bill. The proposed revised Constitution Amendment Tobago Self-Government Bill will alter the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago to enshrine into our Constitution certain rights exclusively to the island of Tobago. Tobago will become an autonomous region free to pursue its economic, social, and cultural development within the margins of the Constitution of the Sovereign Unitary State of Trinidad and Tobago. The bill clearly affirms that both islands are equal, none superior to the other. Therefore, any reference to Tobago as a ward of Trinidad is to be removed from all laws or other records wherever it appears. The Constitution will now establish the Tobago Island Government. Staff who work for this government will fall under the umbrella of the Tobago Division of the Public or Teaching Service Commission as proposed by the committee. Also, the Constitution will establish a completely new Tobago legislature with the ability to pass laws for Tobago that will come into effect on assent by the President, similar to the process followed for the enactment of laws by the National Parliament. A companion bill provides workable financial arrangements and sets out incidental but important matters for the operations of the Tobago Island Government and Legislature.
The new Tobago Legislature. The proposed Tobago Legislature will be a unicameral one, comprising of a reformed House of Assembly and the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. In the Caribbean, there are several examples of legislatures that are unicameral, namely Anguilla, Dominica, Aruba, Nevis Island, Guyana, the British Virgin Islands, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Cayman Islands, Curacao, Martinique, Montserrat, the Turks and Caicos Islands, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The committee carefully studied the advantages of these models and found some to be quite useful to its work. The proposed new Tobago House of Assembly will comprise 15 elected assemblymen, 5 councillors appointed by the President on the advice of the Premier, 3 councillors appointed by the President on the advice of the Minority Leader, 2 councillors appointed by the President in his or her discretion from outstanding persons resident in Tobago, from economic, social, or community organizations or other fields of endeavor, and a presiding officer who may or may not be an assemblyman or a member of the Tobago Executive Council. There is now a provision for the appointment of councillors to temporarily fill vacancies due to illness or absence from the country of appointed members. The Constitution will be amended to empower the members of the new Tobago House of Assembly to make laws for the peace, order and good government of Tobago, and such laws will be called Tobago Acts. Laws that can affect fundamental rights and freedoms of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago will remain under the jurisdiction of the National Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. Also, broad policy issues for which there is the need for the harmonizing of laws will also be the responsibility of the National Parliament. This is to ensure that there is no conflict of laws. The fourth schedule of the Constitution will list the areas for which the Tobago Legislature will have exclusive lawmaking powers for Tobago.
Why is there a need for such schedule? This arrangement is necessary as it promotes the legal certainty that will be required by both the National Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago and the Tobago Legislature when making laws. While some aspect of the functions of this legislature will be in the Constitution, a companion bill provides for operational matters and proposes several oversight committees to be established within the legislature to oversee the work of the Tobago government. Therefore, the new Tobago legislature, unlike other parliamentary bodies, will be lawfully required to fulfill the following roles: lawmaking, scrutiny of the government, representation of the people of Tobago. As is the case at present, the bill proposes that the Tobago legislature will continue for 4 years from the date of its first sitting. However, the bill aims for greater certainty in the calling of a general election for Tobago and proposes that a general election should be held on the second Monday after the date of the 4th anniversary of the last primary election. As a legislature with the power to make laws to affect the lives of its people, the Tobago legislature will finally be able to take a seat at international assemblies where legislators meet regularly to discuss matters related to their roles and functions. So the Tobago legislature will be able to speak for the people of Tobago and leave its mark on the international stage.
The new Tobago government. Clause 11 of the bill amends the Constitution to accord the new Tobago Island government exclusive executive powers to manage all areas listed in the 5th schedule to the Constitution. The Tobago government will be managed by an executive council comprising a premier, a deputy premier, a secretary for legal affairs, and such other secretaries as may be necessary to govern the affairs of Tobago. This new arrangement will deepen Tobago's autonomy. Civil matters involving the Tobago House of Assembly and the Tobago government will now be handled exclusively by the Division of the Secretary for Legal Affairs. As is the case today, the Tobago government, by way of a Memorandum of Understanding arrangement, can be empowered to act on behalf of the government of Trinidad and Tobago in respect of any of its residual responsibilities in Tobago. The Premier for Tobago now has to be consulted before appointments can be made to certain posts like the Chief Administrator, Head of a Department in a Division, and Chief Professional Advisor. The proposed amendment to the Constitution will require the President to act in accordance with the advice of the Tobago Executive Council or a Secretary acting under the general authority of the Tobago Executive Council with respect to matters in the exclusive jurisdiction of the Tobago government. This patterns the law related to matters in the exclusive jurisdiction of the central government of Trinidad and Tobago. Should there be conflict of any kind between the government of Trinidad and Tobago and the Tobago Island government, the bill proposes that the parties be legally required to make meaningful efforts to settle matters before any attempt is made to approach the courts.
The financial provisions. The draft companion bill, entitled the Tobago Island Government Bill, proposes financial arrangements for the management of Tobago's funds. The bill proposes that Tobago be appropriated 6.8% of the annual appropriation as a minimum. However, the law further provides for increases over and above this sum on the recommendation of a Fiscal Review Commission. The Tobago government will be empowered to retain all revenues collected on the island. The draft bill proposes that a Tobago fund be established to consist of monies appropriated by the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago for the use of the Tobago government and such other monies that the Tobago government may lawfully collect, borrow, earn through investments, or be granted. There will also be a contingency fund to provide for unexpected expenditure. The rules or the management of all finances of the Tobago government are required to be debated and approved by the Tobago legislature. No longer will there be the need to send estimates to Trinidad for approval. The Tobago legislature must now also debate and approve its own Tobago Appropriation Act, which, together with detailed estimates, must be laid in the House of Assembly. The members of the Assembly will be required to examine those estimates and seek information from the Executive Council on proposals for expenditure of Tobago's funds. All this will now be part of the new Tobago budget process and is in keeping with the arrangements in legislative bodies the world over. Quite significantly, this bill provides for the establishment in law of the following committees of the Tobago legislature: a Public Accounts Committee, a Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, a number of oversight committees to scrutinize the operations of the Tobago government. What this means is that the expenditure of Tobago's funds will be exclusively decided in Tobago by Tobagonians with oversight by the Tobago legislature, both during and after the budgetary process.